Hi everybody, it's Jenny, and today I'm sharing a card I had a ton of fun making using some awesome products from Possum Stamps. For my card today, I'm going to be using the Sweet Cupcakes stamp set, as well as the Retro Confetti stencil. I'll also be using a few sentiments from the Puffy Birthday Greeting stamp set, but I'm going to go ahead and bring those in later. So to get started on my card today, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Misty and stamp out this cute little cupcake image. And this first impression here is going to be practice, because my idea is to make my cupcake images look like Minions from Despicable Me. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and start by stamping out my image. And next I'm going to bring in the Retro Confetti stencil, which just happened to have two perfectly sized circles to make up the goggles on my Minion cupcake. And just to get an idea about the placement, I'm going to go ahead and trace the larger circle 2 times right next to each other to get an idea of how the goggles will look. Next up, I trace the same circles onto a post-it note and trim that out to create my mask. So because I want to leave a blank space to draw in the goggles onto the cupcake, I'm masking backwards and so I'm putting the mask sticky side up down on my stamp and closing my Misty onto it so that the mask will be in place and I can put the stamp over it. Looking back, I realized I could have just drawn the goggles onto some blank cardstock and then put the stamp on top. I don't know why at the time this seemed easier, but it still worked out anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp out this cupcake one more time with the same type of goggles, and then I'm going to do something different for my third one. For my third cupcake, I'm going to use this cake stand image, and I'm just going to be using the very top handle piece, and I'm going to go ahead and create another mask to get that perfect circle shape. And once I have my mask, I'm going to go ahead and do the same backwards masking technique to get my image. Once I have that empty space where I want the circle to go, I'm going to go ahead and use that cake stand image again to go ahead and add that circle to my cupcake. And just to make sure everything is nice and lined up, I'm going to stamp that out first onto a piece of acetate. Then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down on my image. Then I'm going to go ahead and set that aside and move on to my other 2 cupcakes. And I'm going to bring in the stencil again and go ahead and trace out that larger circle into the empty spaces. And to get that goggle shape, I'm going to go ahead and layer the smaller circle on top to create the frames. Once I have my outlines complete, I'm going to go ahead and color them in. On my other cupcake image, I'm going to go ahead and thicken up that line a little bit as well. Next up, I'm going to use a pencil to just mark in where their little eyeballs will go, and then I'll go ahead and trace over those with a micron pen. Next up, I'm going to color these images in with some Copic markers and add their additional little details to make them look more like minions. And unfortunately, my coloring footage did not want to cooperate, so I'm just going to have a quick before and after here. But you can see where I added their little sprinkle smiles, and a couple have little bits of sprinkle hair. And then I just went ahead and fussy cut those out. Now that I have all my images colored up, I can go ahead and start working on my background. And for this card, I'm going to make a mini slimline with a border. So for this panel, I'm going to trim it down to 3 inches by 5.5. And I'm going to do some Distress Oxide blending with some peacock feathers and twisted citron. Once I have my blending all done, I'm going to bring in the retro confetti stencil again and go ahead and stencil that on with some more of the peacock feathers. Once my background is all done, I can start playing around with the layout of all my images. And here's where I also brought in a bunch of different sentiments from the Puffy Birthday Greetings stamp set that I had previously stamped and trimmed out. I like the idea of layering up a bunch of different sentiments with my images, and I think the black and white really paired well with the bright colors of my card. Once I had all my sentiments picked out, I set that aside and went on to create my card base. Off camera, I went ahead and glued everything down to my main panel, and then I just added more glue to add that panel to the card base. And I also decided to add the sentiment, "It's time to celebrate," onto the inside of the card as well. And here is a closer look at my Cupcake Minion inspired birthday card. I really had a blast making this card, and I think it turned out so fun, and I'm excited to try other character cupcakes in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!